I went with John Wick round 2 this past weekend. But we're going to see if we can come out on the other side tonight with round 2 with our guest, who is going to be a part of one of the biggest matches around here this weekend in all of professional wrestling from our friends over at Championship Wrestling Entertainment. It's going to be the reborn for the company, and he's going to be in a match for the CWE UK Championship. And one of our guests we had the pleasure to speak with last week, and he had a lot to say about our guest sitting right in front of us, and he's going to respond and some. They have had quite a rivalry in the past, and he's going to expound upon that. Plus, he's going to talk about some different things. We saw him at some big time concerts, and he is certainly a big man on campus. He still says it ain't easy being cheesy, but I have no doubt that he certainly makes it easy, to say the least, and certainly we're going to find out if he has a significant other, a hot dog, and a chocolate starfish. Maybe it's behind blue eyes. Maybe we'll even talk about some faith. Who knows what else? I know you have no idea what I'm talking about, but he needs no further introduction. We're going to give it to him anyway. So, without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, pro wrestling star for Championship Wrestling Entertainment, Jeez. Logan.
I'm digging it.
How you doing there, my friend?
It ain't easy being cheesy. You know you wanted to hear that. I'm great.
You know what I felt like just now? I felt like a helium balloon. I almost felt like Geddy Lee, the singer of Rush, he used to always call him a helium balloon. Every time he would kind of yell at the top of his lungs. That's kind of how I felt doing that intro. Certainly, we tried to top the last one. I don't know if I did. I definitely tried my best.
We'll get a time. We'll get a stopwatch and put them together and see.
We'll do the comparison. We'll do the tail of the tape, as they always say. In boxing terms, the tail of the tape. Always when you get a big bout, that main event, you always see the tail of the tape. But obviously, it is certainly a tremendous honor to be with you here for round 2. I have no doubt we're going to be in a real treat. But, to start
it's an
things
honor
off,
to be back with you. It's definitely an honor, as I say.
well, first of all, you know what? Before I get to everything, let's give you a huge shout out, a huge thank you, because obviously right now, for those that are listening and watching, we are wearing your shirt, the Big Cheese Logan, and also we had on.
I didn't even notice that.
Yes, well, that's why I got to give you a big thank you here, because I think it was last week on the show with one of my streams, I wore your other shirt. It's not easy being cheesy with the Fritos logo, but this one, I'm like, I got to wear this one because this one I think is a little bit more appropriate, because obviously we're going to see you in the ring coming up here. So I want to first of all thank you for giving us this nice merchandise here. Certainly, it's I have to say it's one of my favorite shirts around. I'm not just saying it because you're on the air and you're big, a lot bigger than me.
It's a good fit.
I think it's a perfect fit. Sometimes I get these shirts and I'm like, do they fit me? Will it work if I walk in the street with this? But this, I can feel on a day like today here in New York, where it's not too hot, not too cool. It's a perfect shirt for everything else. But
Good.
there's a lot of people that want to hear from you. We'll get to all the merchandise. We'll get to all the fun stuff in a little while. But, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, especially for our friends over at the CWE, we have a huge event coming up here. We are certainly going to be reborn with it. And, one of your opponents last weekend on Easter, nonetheless, had a lot to say about you, and you have quite a history with him. And his name is Palmer, the Necessary Evil. And I'm sure, Mr. Big Cheese Logan, you're not going to be so cheesy in your responses into what he had to say about you. So I know that he's watching and listening, and I'm sure a lot of other people are. And what do you want to say now in regards to the Necessary Evil, Palmer, after his responses to you last week on Sportswire Radio?
Palmer is definitely my toughest opponent throughout my career. Definitely. We met in a battle royal once. Then we had a singles match. I think someone got the win. He's not really liking that.
I watched the matches before we went on the air. We're going to bring them up here.
But yeah, I have so much respect for him. But as you've seen throughout my socials, I have been training hard because I know he's been training hard too, and we're going to put on a great show. It's going to be a collision of the behemoths. That's what it's going to be.
No question about that, and certainly I'm going to get to the necessary evil, and he's with us here right now, as I just pointed out. But let's talk about the history here. You and him do have a history, and we didn't really get a chance to dive into it with you the first time, and also with Palmer, because obviously he's a part of things over at Firestar Championship Wrestling. They have a show, and he was kind of preoccupied with a guy, BMD, a big man. Maybe we'll mention him one day as somebody that you might want to step in the ring with. That'll be a little spoiler alert later on, but I mean, with the history that you guys have had, obviously December 11th, 2021, last time I believe you guys were in the ring in a singles match one-on-one. You got the upper hand, and I mean, you certainly had your hands full with him, and you just tried to, I think, body slam him. You couldn't do it. He goes on top of you, but you find a way. You get the strength from the fans, and they kind of will you to victory. And I mean, how much have you kind of thought about the last time you guys were in the ring on December the 11th, 2021 there in Squared Circle?
Well, that was my hometown. I had a massive support, so I didn't want to let them down for that. There was a lot of people. It was like, oh, need to get through this. But we also had the triple threat match that we didn't even know was going to happen, and that was with Drake Winter. And he also slid him on that one when Drake Winter hit him with the chair. Yeah, man was cashing in on that opportunity, Palmer. You know it. Is that 2-0? Is that 2-0? He's hating on me right now. It's going to be 3-0 come this Friday.
But I have to ask you that, I mean, is there pressure in a way, actually, because, okay, you've got the upper hand, and the mood that we saw him Sunday night last week with us, it was even more evil than he usually is. That's a lot. I mean, he cut a promo last week on you also.
Well, yeah, that's why I've been hitting Jim hard. I know he's going to bring it. He's really going to bring it.
I know you're the big cheese. I know you're the big man on campus, but I mean, do you actually feel in a way pressure because you're trying to keep up here with this streak? And I mean, you haven't lost to him yet. I mean, is there more pressure actually on you than him?
Well, of course, because there's pressure because there's a title on the line this time, and I don't want to be a cheese slice. I don't want to be on that canvas getting pinned. I want to be raising the top with the fans that I'm bringing. I want to be like lifting that title. Although the title is not the thing to me. I've always said that. But
yes, you talked about that. You were champion once, and you felt like it's not really what you're looking for in wrestling. There's other things that you aspire
winning a Royal Rumble.
Well, you and him were in a battle royal, I know, the last time in CWE, and you actually were eliminated kind of via yourself, which was kind of an interesting thing. But I think everybody in that Rumble kind of wanted you and him really to be the final two participants.
We had like one squared off, and I think we exchanged a few blows, and then
I was going to say it was like less than a minute that you and him kind of touched with each other, but there was kind of no finality almost in a way. There was no... I mean, almost in a way, I mean, not to spoil anything, you guys were like John Wick and Kane and John Wick 4 almost. You guys were kind of like, you guys have that kind of... I
can guarantee one thing, I'm going to finalize the deal this Friday. I'm finalizing it, Palmer. I'm finalizing it.
Okay, but let's talk about a few different things, and I will get people in here in a second, I promise. But I mean, he had a championship run recently where he had something like 20 defenses on it, and he went on, and I think it was at the EVF, and he talked about the fact that, some wrestlers are 16-time champions, a la like a Ric Flair, and they're, 16-time losers. And this is a guy that has held a lot of gold. This is a guy that's had a lot of success, and we saw what he kind of said to us here about Firestar Championship Wrestling. And, I mean, are you underestimating Necessary Evil Palmer at all by any chance? Are you underestimating?
No, not at all. Not at all. I know it's going to be a battle. I really do. No underestimating him. As I say, he's my toughest opponent I've ever been against. He's a crazy veteran. We've got a similar background in mixed martial arts. We're both strong heavyweights. There's no underestimation. But the way I've been
surprised that the ring even kind of stood up between the two of you. Watching the singles match back in late 2021, I was almost like watching you guys go at it. I was like, how did that ring kind of stand still after? No, I'm dead serious on that.
Do you know what's mad about that as well? I broke my hand in that match.
Really.
Yeah,
I
really,
didn't know
really,
that.
really. Like I
Was
just
that toward the
broke
middle
it.
of the match? There was, I think, a spot where, like, was that the spot where, I guess, almost you kind of went into, like, I think you were charging at him, but then you went into the ring post. Was that where you kind of broke your arm, if
It
I'm not
was yeah, it was
mistaken?
something in the ring post. Yeah, yeah. It was something on the ring post. I like flew in and me thumb bent out and snapped it. Um,
Oof.
it was a strange situation, and then I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to finish this battle." But I did, but that put me out
Well,
for
how did you
about
finish
4
a
months.
match like that with not even being able to grip anything? How did you
It
pull
was
that
the
off?
crowd, the adrenaline, honestly, and it was like at the end of the match, the kid asked me for an autograph, and it was just trembling. I was like, "Ah, it's an." And it's probably the worst autograph I've ever done. You know, my autograph's great. It was a left hand up. I'm like, I'm sorry, kid. The worst I've ever done.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm actually left-handed, and I actually sign my signature all the time because one of my technical jobs is I'm actually what's called a notary public. I actually certify documents. So my signature, your signature can never be as bad as mine. But let me get to some comments here first. Let's first of all bring in our very good friend, Mr. C2K. Big Cheese Logan, much respect. He says hello to me. Obviously, he's from the state of New York, getting ready for his return to the ring like yours. But the necessary evil Palmer has a few things to say to you. He says, I hope you're getting ready for Friday, Logan. You damn right I'm listening. And he also says, though, which might be poetic, it'll never be over. I mean, will it ever be over between you two? I mean, talk about that.
um, we don't know. Obviously, if I beat him this Friday, then it's going to be over for me, but it's not going to be over for him. If he beats me, I'm going to want a rematch. So yeah, maybe it isn't ever going to be over. Maybe he's
All right.
right on that one. I'll agree with
Fair,
him on that.
Okay, but let me ask you this question. I kind of thought about this, and I want to get your thoughts, and I'm sure that he's hearing this, and I'm sure he'll have a comment or two in this. Obviously, a lot of people are focused on you and him. You guys definitely do fit each other very well. You definitely, I think, are great opponents for each other. I think there's a lot of similarities. Your background, his background. I think he comes at it from a different way in terms of his personality, but I think at the end of the day, you guys are a lot more similar than different. Is there a possibility that you guys are so focused on each other that either one of you loses sight on the prize that is the CWE UK Championship, which is held by BA Rose? Is that a possibility here?
You know, we're focused so much on each other. We hadn't even mentioned BA Rose in the triple threat fight.
And that's exactly why I wanted to bring
You
that
know,
up.
we could just be like focused on each other, staring each other out, and he could get a sneaky victory. We're just gonna have to seal it, Palmer, aren't we? Anybody want to book a steel cage, me and Palmer? Hey, how do you feel about that, Palmer? Hey,
Ooh, is
I'm
that a
right
request
there.
there for Joshua Howard? Is that a request for any wrestling promoter out there that you and him, the only way to settle this out here could very well be in a steel cage? I think a lot of people certainly might want that. I do have a lot of people tuned in. Let me get to a couple of more people. C2K says, I want an ain't easy been cheesy shirt. So I think that's what C2K wants. So C2K wants a t-shirt. So
Which one?
C2K, yeah, I think he wants the one on the left. I think he wants it. It ain't easy
It
being
ain't easy
cheesy.
being cheesy. It's not easy being cheesy.
And C2K, by the way, he does some rapping, so maybe C2K can actually do some music for you. Yeah, he
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
he's
yeah.
not too bad. He's not too bad. Skull is the Soul Hunter from the EWF in California says, "Did someone order a Chinese burger? What's the Chinese burger reference to? What's the Chinese burger reference to? Is there anything? I mean, I can tell you yesterday." I had a burger in the mall, and it was like an average burger. I had a place called the Melt Shop. They made a burger. It was my meal before I went to Super
I'll
Mario
answer that
Brothers.
question. I don't know much about that question.
Yeah, I don't know me either. Um, I have a good one here. Looking forward to this show, especially the elimination match. I mean, let's talk about the show itself because this is obviously a really really good show. The Modern Day Mafia are now going to be wrestling for the tag team titles. Mickey Meatis, we spoke about here. I mean, how does this, in terms of your return, add with you in the issues now that we've seen the last couple of weeks and the build up between you and Palmer, title on the line? I mean, how really excited are you to be out there back in the ring this Friday?
Oh, my entrance, I'll be so excited. I'll be out there partying up until that bell rings. I will be partying, and hopefully I'll be partying after it. Yeah, I'm really excited to get back in there. Excited to the point where the stomach is nerves. I'm like, oh, it's only a few days away now. But that's always good if you've got the
Really?
nerves.
You're nervous of all people. You were just with what,
Well, because I
70,000?
know like so many people are coming down and that, and I'm putting on a show. I'm using a lot of new tricks on this one. A lot of new tricks up the sleeve are coming. They're coming, honestly. And it's just got to, they've just got to work in order to beat them. They've got to work.
All right, well, please don't tell us those tricks. I will say this much.
They
Do not
won't
tell
be
us.
released. They're my winning formulas right there.
All right, fair enough here. I do have some more comments before I get to that. And also, Skull says, I meant a cheeseburger. But again, okay, I guess it's to a big cheese, Logan. Was it a joke? I guess I meant, did someone order a cheeseburger? I mean, do you actually get this reference? I mean, do people actually say, hey, did I order a cheeseburger? I mean, I don't know.
I get like ones like Gouda to see you. Oh, Jesus Christ, to get stuff like that.
I thought it was funny.
That
I
I
think
get.
was it in the not in the Rumble, but I think the match with Palmer. Did you take out a little cheese piece and eat it? I think I'm almost certain early in that match you took out a
Well, that's really got to stop now because I put a cheese slice in my pocket and it got really sweaty. And he ate.
I was gonna say my first thought was okay. Here's my first thought here before I get to comments on the cheese part. I'm like, wait a minute, did he really take a cheese piece out of his pocket and
Well,
eat?
have you seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid and the cheese slices in like the playground and they won't take off the floor? That's what
Yeah,
it's like.
okay, I get the 3 second rule. I get that, but my first thought was, is he gonna like have a stomach ache afterwards? Because he's got to go wrestle in the ring. He's got to go and do that.
There
So I'm
was
like,
another
I
one
hope he
where
doesn't. Listen, you know what my thought was? I hope you didn't have a Psycho Sid WrestleMania 13 moment on us, where in the beginning of the match against the Undertaker, he unfortunately did a number two at the very beginning of the match, and you could see it like unfortunately in the
oh
ring
no,
at
I
the
didn't
end of
know
the
about
match.
that.
Yeah, so I was hoping that wasn't going to be the
I
case
mean, I
here, but
picked up a cheese slice in the triple threat with Palmer and Drake Winter, and it had a foot mark on it, and I still ate it right off the floor. Doesn't get cheesier than that.
well, I certainly look if it works for you and it continues to work, and I'm not going to
Stop the
argue
top
that.
of my spinach when you eat it.
All right, so let me come back here to some more comments because I think people now they're getting warmed up right now, which is we kind of figured. So Palmer calls it. He wants a steel cage anytime, anywhere.
Oh, so we can get down in Tesco. You see them cages, what they push down, and then we can get in there. We can grab anytime, Palmer. I'll be seeing you this Friday. Keep it coming. Keep it rolling. You know
Well,
what
we'll
time
certainly.
it is.
I knew that was coming. So I heard a BCing you a John Wick reference. Then I heard Roland from obviously Limp Bizkit, which that was from The Undertaker's a song they did for him. And of course, they performed that live. I think that was WrestleMania 19. I want to say they did that live
19, yeah, yeah.
in 19 in Seattle. Kind of a weird place to do a WrestleMania, but here nor there. Yes, I can. Mr. Cheese, it would be an honor to make some music for you. So, okay, maybe C2K can work on the rap for the Big Cheese Logan.
Okay.
Somebody I know you're going to be sharing a locker room with this Friday coming up here, Mr. Dave Douglas of the Modern Day Mafia gives us an emoji. And do you think Mr. Douglas comes away with some gold here with him and Mr. Cobra? I mean, what do you think there on that?
I mean, they have weight categories in boxing for a reason. I know, like, they're going against two, like, middleweights and they're, like, super heavyweights.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting match.
La Flama and Kenzo are going to have to work really hard to do over the Modern Day Master.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, Kenzo certainly had a lot to say in his most recent promo, and also Skull says there is a wrestler named Cheeseburger from Ring of Honor. Okay, I haven't seen the new Ring of Honor reboot, so I mean I might have to brush up on that. But speaking of people that are with us, the aforementioned Mr. Kenzo himself says, "Cheesy, please walk out with the win." You know, I want to talk about this in a different twist, and tell me your thoughts on this. The fans love you. I got a chance to watch you in that December 11th, 2021 match. And the only other thing I've seen like that where you had such a loud reaction is my guest tomorrow night in your chair, the natural born fighter, R.P. Davis. And the fans love him, whether it's in Morecambe, whether it's in certainly anywhere else he wrestles. Barrow, obviously, in Wrestle Island, TNT. I mean, he's got that kind of fan base. But with you, it might even be a notch higher. And I mean, do you feel, because you're going to have a lot of people Friday that are coming just to see you, maybe not even anybody else, maybe not even Mickey Metis. I mean, are you going to feel those nerves, those stomach knots, and that pressure maybe more than anybody else on that card? Because let's be honest, the majority of the people that are coming out Friday, they're coming out to see you, and they're coming out to see the Big Cheese Logan get that W and walk away with a championship.
Yeah, it's. I know a lot of my family are coming to this one as well. It's good that I'm on first. A lot of people didn't know. Oh, yeah, the match lineups have come out. I'm on first, so that helps that you're not backstage. Like, and me and Pam are going at it backstage. We can get straight into the fight. That takes a lot of the nerves away. Like, straight in on stage. Let's do the thing. Let's have the fight. That's definitely good for the nerves. But yeah, as I said like about 10 minutes ago, it's getting there now. Because I'm like, it's this Friday. It's been a while before I got in the ring. It's bubbling. It's bubbling.
We're almost there. You know, when I had you on last month, it was almost like, okay, it's still not really quite near. It was like 7 or 8 weeks up until the card, and you look at it and say, well, I mean, you don't really think about it. But now you think about it. Listen, we're about 4 days or so, less than 96 hours away. You think about it. So there's no doubt about it. And I do have some comments here. So let me get to some good questions here. First, let me get to this one, and this is a good one. Do you think ring gear is an important thing in wrestling today? What do you say? Because you have kind of a very, very distinct ring gear, to say the least.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've like been to shows where people in PE kits come out there, and you're just like, really? Where's he got that from? Or like with a name and number on the back of the shirt, like kind of embarrassing. Yeah, your ring gear, if it's just generic, people don't pay attention. It needs to be out there. It's like, I don't know if you've seen some of my really early matches. I came out in like all red, like the kind of demon, and it was only a kid that said to me, like, if you're the Big Cheese, why you dress like a demon? So I actually don't know that. And so it was a kid that got me into the yellow. He's like, in cheese yellow. And then the next show went out in yellow, and then the crowd seemed to pick up more. I like that gear, I like this gear. And then more yellow boots. Yellow things on the short. So yeah, gear is a massive important thing. Don't come out in PE kits.
Let me ask you very quickly, because I know people do want to talk to you, and I'll get to people's comments, but do you feel like in some ways that yellow is kind of like your good luck color?
Yellow's like Hogan. Do you remember when he went to red? He had loads of losses.
Yeah, I do. I think we're talking about when he went to red and he looked like he lost weight,
But
looked skinny.
honestly, if I was to wear the red, that would be if it was in a CCW show, because I know it's going to be the carnage. That's how I would think about it. That's how it really. If I was on a poster,
well, you know, spoiler alert. We're gonna get to some of those things because I have some questions about some different places. So certainly somebody's reading my liner notes here. But let me get to some more comments because people want to talk to you. I want everybody to follow the Big Cheese on Instagram at Big Cheese Logan. Also give him a friend request on Facebook. Subscribe to his page on YouTube as well. Make sure you also follow our friends.
I've got interesting socials. They're out there. They're different. You've got to say that.
No, I have to say your socials are certainly very unique, and I think that's why a lot of people should want to follow you. So make sure that you do follow the Big Cheese and all the great things that he certainly does, and certainly Mad Manx and on YouTube. That's his handle. So make sure you follow that.
Follow him back. More popular than me.
Well, all right. Well, let me get to some more comments.
Plug yourself. Come on.
I got enough plugs, but let me get to people. They want to talk to you. Don't worry about me. Let's have the people come in here. Palmer says one thing we can agree upon is knowing Kenzo, he will do well, as we've both had a hand in training him. As much as we don't like each other, I can respect you as a coach. I mean, maybe talk about the training of Kenzo and maybe how you guys have actually both trained him and maybe how proud both of you guys are going to see him in the ring against the modern day Mafia. I mean, listen, the modern day Mafia, I've covered them. I've watched them quite a bit. So the fact that Kenzo, I mean, he's in the big time here this coming Friday. I mean, talk about maybe how proud you are of what we're going to see from Kenzo here this Friday.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be very proud watching that one. Yeah. Done a few sessions. He used to come to the squared circle back in the day, but yeah, I've been going up to Fleetwood and training him, and I know Palmer has trained him as well. Oh, God, do we have to get compliment Palmer a bit here?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. But I think what he's trying to
Okay,
say
we
is,
will agree on that. It's going to be a proud moment for both of us, but we'll both be there smiling but grimacing at each other if we get to watch it. I'm
you
pretty
guys would
sure like,
certainly.
they come on straight after us, and we'll be pretty banged up because we're going to fight. We are going to fight.
I have to say this because I've been watching a lot of movies recently as I'm back at the movies. You guys would certainly be great for a movie. You guys would certainly be a great hero and villain role. I mean, I think you guys would certainly be, if somebody's out there and wants to film a movie, I mean, I think, listen, Big
I
Cheese
think we could
Logan,
do a great fight scene. They've got a
I
pause
think you
right there
guys
on the left, though.
I think that both of you guys would certainly be. Listen, I think hopefully, I don't want to spoil it, but if when there is, or if there is, or when there is another John Wick, you guys would be excellent stunt doubles. So certainly, hopefully, somebody out there is listening. But I do have some more comments. Let me get to those. The Big Cheese Wolverine from Casey Jack Bradley here. He then further goes on and says, Big Cheese sounding like the villain from Resident Evil who looks like Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, is that you see that, Dustin?
Yeah, there we go. The hair's
All
in
right.
now.
Well, I guess. All right. If
And I
you
can,
like
I
it,
can
then
put
we'll
the
go
yellow
with it.
vest down, and I can put the yellow on if it look like the villain.
All right. I got some more comments here. Kenzo says Sports Direct gear in 2023.
No. See, this is a thing. It's one of the things I point out in training is like, don't wear that lame gear, dude. Just don't wear it. Because you must have seen it yourself when someone comes out and you think, guy just looks like he's come off the street. You must have seen it. You've seen a lot of matches.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain wrestlers, I mean, that come out and you look at it and like, what are they doing? What do they have themselves into? I mean,
I
certainly,
mean,
look.
some people like think a mask now is a sock over the head, like they're doing an armed robbery, cut a few holes out. This is what some things go to. Like, just buy your gear outright, get some good professional gear, look like the professional you are. Don't look like the audience member. Don't.
I mean, with
Get
the
out there.
exception, listen, John Cena was the rare exception where he would come out in the shorts and t-shirt, but by and large, I mean, I think you should have some type of ring attire, whether it's pants, whether it's trunks, whatever it might be, whether it's a singlet. I mean, you should have something. I mean, yeah, I don't think people should come out in a almost a mask that's cut out and it's got where they can see through and they're coming out in like sweatpants. I don't think that's necessarily the look. I mean, some people can pull different things off. I mean, God bless, but yeah, I kind of agree there. Master Plaster says legend in the building here. Big Cheese also goes further and says new UK champion this weekend. Easy work. Well, I mean, Palmer's listening tonight. I don't know if he would agree with that, but obviously you do have your fans out here tonight.
Yeah. This is another one of my friends that's going to be at the show. He'll be there. He's been to a lot of my shows. Always there, supporting front row. Always, he's always there. Cheers, Dino. It won't be easy work.
I don't think it's going to. Listen, you have Palmer in the ring and you have B.A. Rose. It ain't going to be easy. Listen, you may say it ain't easy being cheesy, but it ain't easy being in the ring with those two guys, regardless of what you think of them. And Palmer says, which I fully agree with him on, in terms of ring gear, invest in yourself. If you can't invest in yourself, then how do you expect anyone to invest in you? And I think that's kind of a moral for anything in life. They
so
always
wise.
say, like,
I've got a compliment in there. You're so wise, Palmer. You're so wise. But you're not that wise to be fighting me. Turning heel again.
Ooh. Well, this is another reason why I want everybody to follow our friends over at Championship Wrestling Entertainment at official_CWE_. Also, Championship Wrestling Entertainment on YouTube and Facebook. Join the Reborn as the company is reborn coming up here. It'll be on this Friday. We will have a stacked card, and our guest tonight, the Big Cheese Logan, will be a huge part of it. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, do give us a like and follow on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Close to 600 followers out. I appreciate the support. YouTube have a lot of new subscribers of late at Sportswire Radio. Also, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. And I'll be back tomorrow in Big Cheese's chair. It'll be the natural born fighter, RP Davis. Another guy who's got a fighting background. Another guy's got a lot of fans who believe in him and love him for certainly a lot of the same reasons for the Big Cheese. And he'll be wrestling for the Odyssey Pro Wrestling World Heavyweight title this Saturday. So go to the CWE show Friday. Then go to Morecambe, watch Odyssey Pro Wrestling. In the main event, it'll be the natural born fighter RP Davis and Ryan Hunter there. And it's been a match probably about a year and a half in the making. We'll talk about it, plus a hell of a lot more. Everybody follow the natural born fighter on Twitter at RPD Fighter, RP Davis also on Facebook, r.p.davis on Instagram as well. I want to thank RPD for his friendship over the years, and I look forward to speaking with him. But in the meantime, we are having a lot of fun with the man right here, the Big Cheese Logan. I've got his shirt on. I'm certainly excited to have him on. Watch some of his matches most recently out there on YouTube. Thank you to Palmer. Follow his YouTube page at Palmer the Necessary Evil, also on Instagram as well, because that's where I watch those matches. Without Palmer's YouTube page, we wouldn't have had those 10 or 15 minutes of exciting questions. So thank you, my friend. So some more comments here. Let's get to them. Casey Jack Bradley says ring gear is the best thing about wrestling, especially gear based on pop culture and comics. I most will likely wear cosplay gear, and it makes me look very flashy, and kids will love it, so the adults will too. Okay, well, I certainly hope that is the case when you return to the ring. Skulls wants to say, don't mess with the Big Cheese, Logan, unless you want to get smacked with a slice of cheese. All right, I got a good one here. Have you ever smacked anyone in the ring with a slice of cheese? Let's go with that.
Oh, in fact, I bounced the cheese slice off Palmer's head. I said I actually smacked the cheese slice right off his kite. Hey, you're laughing at that one, aren't you?
Did you eat it afterwards?
What's that?
Did you eat it afterwards?
I did. Yeah. I tell you what I don't do though. I don't throw baby bells into the crowd. That is banned. Like I remember at a show, I slung the baby bell, and everybody seemed to duck at the way, and there was this old lady just drinking it, smacked her in the head.
Oh my god!
And then I threw another one at another show, and it hit the wrestler's girlfriend. Oh, the man that came for me for a fight after the show. He wanted a legitimate fist fight after the show. I was like, really? It was a pure accident. One of the only times like I genuinely lost it. I think Luscious Lance that's tuning in here seen me at that just lose it. It was a bit weird for me to lose.
If anybody was there and anybody wants to share a memory on that, I mean, feel free. And Kenzo says, I catch the baby bell.
Well, yeah, it's like an underarm now. There's none of them like baseball slings. They don't
God, I know what the baseball slings look like. Casey Jack Bradley says that you should do a cheesy gear. It's yellow with holes, or do a Dairy Lee Dunker gear. I get the cheese reference with the piece of cheese and the holes, and I kind of get that one, but you do have already the yellow and black gear. I mean, you do have
the yellow and black. I mean, do you want to come out looking like you're in fancy dress, or do you want to come out looking like you're coming for the fight? That's the thing. You can come out with a stupid Dairy Lee triangle and look like a bit of a joke. Or then you can come out looking like the business with a bit of colour in you. You know, that's what it's going to be.
I think you have a good ring attire. I have to say, I like the ring attire. I think it fits you well. It fits your size. It fits your look. It gives you still just enough of that.
It didn't fit when we was last on the show. It didn't fit. I've been dieting hard to get that on.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, watching your social medias, I mean, you certainly are in shape. You are training for Palmer. So I will say, at least from a training aspect, you are certainly treating Mr. Palmer very, very seriously. And I'm sure that he will oblige well. But I want to bring up, obviously, the owner and obviously our promoter of our very, very, very,
Mr. Howard, where is he even tuned in?
Well, I want to get to him. That's why I'm saving him here. He's got a great comment for us. He says, evening, gents. Had the pleasure of meeting RPD today in person. Very nice guy. Wish him all the best for Saturday. As for Friday, we're hopeful for an entertaining night. Hopeful? No, we are going to have an entertaining night. We are absolutely 1,000% going to have an entertaining night.
It's not going to be hopeful. The house is coming down. That roof's coming off the Cons Club. It's coming off.
Listen, you're in action. We got Mickey Meadis. That's a big deal. We spoke about that. We've got the Modern Day Mafia. And I want to break it here for Mr. Howard because we're going to talk about the fallout, no doubt about Championship Wrestling Entertainment's show on Friday because Joel Cobra is returning back to Sportswire Radio. He is returning May the 2nd, and he's returning, I think, at the same time you're going to be with us. And Mr. Cobra has requested a microphone. Mr. Cobra has a lot on his chest that he wants to get off, and he's going to talk undoubtedly a hell of a lot about CWE, and he very well could be having gold to share with us on the air, although I know Kenzo's going to disagree with this, but I mean, anything that we should know further about Mr. Cobra? I know he's probably in training as we speak, so let Mr. Cobra hear this when he watches back the replay of this. But what anything further I should know about Mr. Cobra, especially now that the Mafia are going to be taking on La Flama and now Kenzo here coming up here this Friday?
When I deal with Palmer this Friday, actually, let's get this right. When I deal with Palmer and B.A. Rose, don't forget B.A. Rose. When I deal with both of them, I'll deal with the pair of the Modern Day Mafia. Make it a handicap match. There'll be bin men when I finish with them. They'll be in the junk. They'll be done with.
You sure you want to do a handicap match? They're big guys, you know.
I tell you what, they're the next show when Kenzo does them. Get Kenzo team with me to do that Modern Day Mafia.
Wait. Time out for a second. Kenzo's going to be in the ring, obviously, against the Mafia, and there's a chance that he very well may capture these tag team titles. Let's give him that mathematical possibility.
Yeah.
But you're saying, regardless, you actually want to team up with Kenzo, and you want a shot at the Modern Day Mafia. Are you sure?
I would even take on all three of the Modern Day Mafia. They can put Grimm in as well.
Yes, Grimm, who we saw in GT Ministries, yes, as a part of GT Mission. Also, Uncle Ralph is obviously...
Bring them on.
All right, I mean, okay. I mean, I'll have to ask Mr. Cobra his thoughts on this in 2 weeks from now. I'll ask him. No, I'll ask him. You have my word on that. Certainly, Mr. Cobra is one of our favorites.
Crackle and pop when I do them over.
Okay, but Mr. Cobra seems like, based off the promo we saw on the CWE socials, that Mr. Cobra seems like he's in a different mood right now. I mean, he's certainly not the Cobra that I've seen in the past in other places, like in GT Ministries. I mean, so, all right. I mean, you seem confident on this one. You certainly do seem confident, but I will get to some people here. Dunk Logan, the British Hulk Hogan. You know, you do have a fan base that really does believe in you. You do have a fan base that is rabid. So I will say that the fans are probably this Friday going to be louder for you than the last time Hulk Hogan was in the ring, because when we saw Hulk Hogan last at the Raw 30th anniversary show, it seemed like the fans had like no reaction toward him. I mean, that's
I mean, I still love Hogan's theme coming on, but I watched it. I was like, do you know when you cringe a bit, like maybe your time's done now?
Yeah, I kind of felt the Raw 30th show where he came out and there was like zero reaction toward Hogan.
Zero reaction. It was like really bad, really, really bad.
You know, I was even watching, I don't know if you saw it yet, we'll get to more comments in a second, but I was watching, in America we have A&E, and they were showing the documentary of the Iron Sheik, and they were showing Hulk Hogan in the documentary, and then they were also showing right afterwards the Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper feud with the whole rivalry, WrestleMania 1, yada, 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 and then later on in WCW and in the NWO. And I kind of felt like in a lot of ways Hogan, and I have all the love in the world for Hogan. Hogan's certainly Hogan. But I think in a lot of ways, guys like the Sheik and Roddy Piper maybe didn't get their due. They didn't get their kind of just. And when it came to just what Hogan, there we go, what Hogan brought to the table there. So, I mean, my point was before you kind of came in and out was that Hogan, maybe we overrate him sometimes in a sense. And that was all my point was.
You've got to respect him for what he done back in the day, but then that's back in the day, and it's just...
Well, it took somebody else to get him to that spot. That was kind of what I was kind of going with. Whereas the Sheik and Piper and Andre the Giant specifically, obviously maybe the most important of them all, they were the people that granted Hogan that opportunity to be what he was, the red and yellow and always going over and the fans. And, you know, it takes two to tango. That was kind of my point. And I think
that doesn't work for me, brother. A lot of that as well.
But the difference with you is you move well in the ring. The difference is the fans genuinely love you right now. The fans seem to be tiring of Hogan. That's the difference. The fans have always loved you. Hogan's had a love-hate relationship with the fans. You think about the mid-90s, you think about right now, you think about a few years back when he said some different things out there, but enough about that. Let's get to more comments. It looks to me as if, I guess Kenzo says, come on, cheesy. I guess maybe that's a yes, maybe that's a no. I don't know, but I guess stay tuned. I'll ask Mr. Cobra, though, if he wants a match with you and Kenzo here. Adam Morgan, one of our friends here from Texas, I know who I owe an appearance to, also wrestling star, doing a lot of great things here coming up this spring, says, woo, that's kind of his catchphrase, so we certainly want to say hello to him. Also, Good shout there, Cheese. You and Kenzo take out the modern day mafia. So I think you got one person that says I when it comes to that. So maybe Mr. Howard is listening, and maybe Mr. Howard wants to have that happen. I don't know. And Casey Jack Bradley says the Nacho Man Randy sandwich. I thought Slim Jim was kind of the Randy Savage sandwich. I thought that was kind of the thing there. Wasn't the I'm trying to think about this very quickly because I do want to ask you some different things, but just very quickly, I'm trying to think. Was it the what was the segment during the Monday Night Wars? What was it? The Huckster and the Nacho
The
Man?
Huckster, the Nacho Man. Yeah. The Huckster
Maybe
and the
that's what
Nacho
you're
Man.
referring to there. The Huckster
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
Nacho Man. That was interesting. That was when I don't think it would have
Ted
worked
Turner.
now. I don't think it would have worked now, but as a little kid, it worked then. Now I don't think it would work, but it's kind of
It
here
was
nor
like
there. But
95 WWF when it was at its lowest point, that.
yeah, it was kind of, I guess, right before like WCW took over in the ratings. It was right before the NWO. It was kind of like that, I guess, cartoon era of the WWF. It was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
where
yeah.
right before the Attitude Era, before Austin, before all of that. So it might have worked then. Don't think it would work now. But I have to bring this up to Big Cheese Logan on a lighter note because I see you everywhere. I saw you at a Limp Bizkit concert, and I mean, Fred Durst. What has happened to Fred Durst? That was my first though. What has happened to him? But I saw you also at the Skillet show, and I mean, first of all, let's talk about the Limp Bizkit show. It looked like it had a lot of energy. It certainly like you were a part of things. I even heard from a birdie that you ran into a wrestler that was also a world champion not too long ago. So I mean,
I
let's
did.
talk about the Limp Bizkit show. Certainly, I hope that you had a hot dog and a chocolate starfish, to say the least, and maybe you caught a few tunes off a significant other. But talk about the Limp Bizkit concert and what that was
I'm
like.
bouncing there in the pit, getting on it. Well, first of all, I'm a bit old for the pit now. 20 seconds into
Dude,
the first song, I
Durst,
was
Fred
in.
Durst looked like dude, Fred Durst. No, you weren't, because Fred Durst looked like he had to be like 60. I mean, what has happened to Fred Durst? That was my first thought.
He got old. He got old. He's got that song.
Dude, he looks like what happened to Fred Durst? I don't think he's. What is he even 50? He looks seriously like really old.
Do you know what? I don't know how old Fred Durst. He has to be at least 50, doesn't he? I don't know. He could be like late 40s.
He looked like he was
like. That's a Google.
I'm gonna well, you talk about him. I'll have my crack staff look it up. But Fred Durst, I'm gonna still say it. What happened to him?
I don't know, but he still puts on a good show. He puts on a great show, in fact. And yeah, someone bouncing in the pit, and there I see the rabbit flying about. All right, boy. Oh, and that's another one I want to fight with. I want to fight with the rabbit.
I'm gonna get to the opponents that we want to see you in the ring with, but I mean, so the energy was good. Would they play all the hits?
All the hits on it. Oh man. 2 hours plus of hits, every hit, Rolling, My Generation, Faith, Counterfeit, Pollution, Dad Vibes, Take a Look Around, My Way, My Way.
I think that was my favorite. Take a Look Around. That was my favorite. That was the Mission Impossible one. That was always.
I did the video to you, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I appreciate that. That was one of my favorite ones because hearing him. Yeah, that was a good. You know what? I know Metallica did a Mission Impossible. There was some other songs on that soundtrack, but that was the one I always thought that was like probably the best. One of the. I don't know if it's the best Limp Bizkit song, but it's probably, if I had a top 2 or 3.
It's the most famous, I think, apart from My Way, because if you're a wrestling fan, it's My Way. I think because of the mainness of it.
Well, Faith is the song that put them on the map. I mean, if you watch the old back in the day, the MTV.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think Faith put them on the map, and Roland. You have to mention Roland, obviously. That's also
well. There was a time when MTV was just full of them, wasn't it? It was just every music video you would always see My Generation and Roland's videos.
I feel like. And I will get to the wrestling in a few minutes, I promise. As you're here with pro wrestling star Big Cheese Logan. Please follow him on Instagram and Twitter at Big Cheese Logan. Also give him a friend request on Facebook. Also subscribe to him on YouTube as well. He's a huge part of things coming up for Friday's show here for Championship Wrestling Entertainment. But I always felt like Limp Bizkit when I was growing up. There was a show, which I'm sure you know, TRL. And TRL used to play all these different acts. And for whatever reason, you see like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. But then you would see Limp Bizkit. And Limp Bizkit was kind of like the rock band from like 1999 to probably like 2002, I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a Limp Bizkit song. In a lot of ways, it was kind of like Limp Bizkit and Korn, but I think Limp Bizkit was a little bit more popular. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
everywhere you went, I mean, also we had a station in America called K Rock, and K Rock would play like the modern rock of the time. And again, Limp Bizkit was always that band. I remember as a kid, whether I was going out for an exercise or a workout, Limp Bizkit would always be on like every 15 minutes. And Limp Bizkit was kind of like the thing. And they really kept rock music, I think, alive in a lot of ways. Despite what you think about rock rap or new metal or whatever it is, I mean, Limp Bizkit is owed a debt of gratitude, I think, to people between the
They
ages
were
of like
so
30.
big.
Yep.
They were so big. He was attracted to Holly Berry that he got him in his music video just
Yeah,
to
Behind Blue Eyes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
wow. That, I mean, that's a big band that doing that. Like that's how big they was at one stage. Like massive, doing film scores and that.
And Halle Berry has always been one of my favorites, and she is somebody that looks wise. I'm not going to say too much, but she's looks wise, has aged as gracefully as anybody could. In fact, she was in John Wick 3. She had a big role in John Wick 3, and she pulled it off immensely. And she's a huge MMA fan. You always see her at UFC shows. Always kind of got the whole sports thing. So, and
She had
aside from
that
being,
MMA film, didn't she? It was really good.
yep.
It was on Netflix. I can't remember its name, but it was really good.
Yeah, she was always like I really thought like for very like a cool chick. I thought she was obviously, I mean, she's phenomenal looks wise, but in terms of like her, like she was somebody that just kind of got it. Just somebody that you definitely want to hang out with. So you got to give Fred Durst a lot of credit for that. And Casey Jack Bradley says, My Way and Rollin' were two WWE songs I like to listen to, even Rev Theory as well. So yeah, My Way and Rollin' were definitely, they were a huge part of the Attitude Era. They were like two of the biggest songs that you maybe had in WWE history that were played by an artist. I think you have to say that they would be. Logan, all jokes aside, I honestly would love to meet you. I'm making a mission to meet a lot of wrestlers. I want to get to people you met most recently and some music you also purchased most recently, but I'm going to get to that in a second. The Biscuits crossed over genres. Yes, exactly. No matter what you might say about Limp Bizkit, they were huge in heavy metal, but also there was the video that Fred Durst did. If you remember the one he did with was it Method Man? Remember that video they did?
Yeah, is that End Together now?
That's it. That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
That was
That
one. So
was the
think
album.
about
It was like a rock rap, and the people was like, "What is
yes.
this? What is this album?" That's why it's
You know what though? But if you think about it, but if you really think about like that new metal and rock rap, whatever you want to call it, like I know that Public Enemy and Anthrax did a song. I know that there were certainly. I mean, Faith No More had elements of it. I mean, I know that it
Aerosmith
was
and Run DMC.
Aerosmith and Run DMC. I know that there were elements of it out there. I mean, Ice-T certainly have to give him in some ways kind of some credit with Body Count as well. I mean, Biohazard had references to it, but I mean, if you think about Limp Bizkit, they were the ones that kind of put it into like the stratosphere where you had that crossover effect, where you had all these, Jay-Z and Linkin Park wound up doing an album together. I mean, you think about, all the different groups that wound up crossing over with each other and wound up doing those different things. It's really a debt of gratitude is kind of owed to Limp Bizkit. I mean, but I have some comments here about music. So I want to
Carlos B here. He's my coach, Coach Carlos B.
Oh wow! Okay. So he's definitely into it, and he also says even a big rap fan like me enjoyed them. Again, that's my point. What Limp Bizkit did was they brought together the rock crowd, and they brought the rap crowd, and they also brought, I guess, anybody now if you're between the ages of like 30 and 45. That was that perfect element. In a lot of ways, listen, they were a perfect component to the Attitude Era in professional wrestling because they had that vibe to it. They had that certain touch to it. And also, Palmer here kind of breaks character. It says Beyond Blue Eyes was for the movie Gothica. Yes, that was that was in 2003, I want to say, right? Behind Blue Eyes. That was, and I think that was their last big Limp Bizkit song, if I'm not mistaken. That was the last.
It was gone.
I think it was their last.
They wanted to do an album, didn't they? And they didn't do it for years. And Wes left, and he wasn't even at WrestleMania 19. Wes, he wasn't on it. They had Ed from Korn, didn't they? On it, Ed from Korn was on guitars then.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. Unfortunately, see, Korn kind of soldiered on, and they were kind of able to like I guess, keep themselves a little bit more relevant. But Limp Bizkit, unfortunately, after that, kind of went through some lineup changes. I think with Wes Borland, DJ Lethal, and also a couple of different things here, which I'm going to segue to in a second. Megadeth over Metallica. Come at me. Now, the reason I bring this up here, Mr. Big Cheese, because obviously everybody these days is talking about Metallica because they have a brand new album that I know I heard from a birdie that you purchased called 72 Seasons. And in fact, I actually purchased the record, but I haven't got it yet because I ordered it from Amazon. So without spoiling it, I mean, what do you think of 72 Seasons from Metallica? Is it worth the listen? Is it worth the buy? I mean, what do you think of
Track
it?
one's 8 minutes long. It says it all. I've only got to track 3. Do you know? And you think that track one's good, you go back. That track one, then you get into track 2. Then I'm only on to track 3, really. So the first 3 tracks are bangers. Here's another thing about Palmer. He has a great entrance theme to Cavalera Conspiracy.
I know we
when
were
he
speaking
comes,
about that. We were
when he
speaking
comes
about
out
that.
and trying to not pop to it, I'm like, oh man, the Cavalera Conspiracy. Not many people know about this.
And we actually, when he was on the air, I actually spoke about that because I liked Slepator. I wasn't a big fan of Soulfly necessarily, but I did like Chaos and Chaos AD and Roots. Those were two of actually, in a way, actually, I should actually backtrack myself because some people actually credit the early beginnings of Limp Bizkit and Korn to Slepatora, Chaos AD, and Roots. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, Palmer might double quote me on this or check me on this. I actually think Fred Durst is a guest on, I think, the first Soulfly album. So I'm almost certain of that. That I think Fred Durst actually has a guest appearance on the first Soulfly album, which I think a lot of people, in a lot of ways, also credit into the rap melodies with the tribal beats and the tribal drums. So 72 Seasons, you don't have a full opinion on it, correct?
No, for the first 3 songs are bangers. The bangers, they're absolute bangers. But like I say, they're 8 minutes long, 8, 16, 24.
I heard
I'm not going to be able to
77
try to
minutes.
get through.
I heard 77 minutes is the entire
It's
album.
77 minutes. 77 minutes. That's what I mean. You're like, oh, that's still track 1. 8 minutes. It's like that's long for the track. That really long.
That's long, but you know what? I can't complain because I just sat through John Wick 4, and John Wick 4 was over 3 hours, counting trailers. It was 3 hours and like 20 minutes with trailers, so I really can't say anything about that. But I should actually say, I mean, do you prefer Megadeth over Metallica or Metallica over Megadeth? Because I know Mr.
I
Palmer
like
might get him
Megadeth at
riled
a
up.
festival.
What's
Megadeth at
that?
a festival. Megadeth at a festival play every song twice as fast. Really fresher. I like them at a festival, but Megadeth. I mean, they've got like 2 albums. The rest of it, if you go to a greatest hits of a band and you have to skip songs, it says a lot. And I found that on Megadeth's greatest hits.
See, I actually am going to take Palmer's perspective on it because I was telling you on Facebook yesterday, I'm very hit or miss with Metallica. Like, And Justice for All I loved. Kill 'Em All I liked. I mean, Death Magnetic I liked. The last album, I mean, so far from what I've heard on this album, sounds like I'm going to like it. But I'm very hit or miss with Metallica. Megadeth, I mean, they do have 2 albums that are like really, really iconic. And Peace Sells Who's Buying and Rust in Peace. Although,
In
Countdown
fact,
to...
did Joel Cobra do a promo the other day and it got me back into him? I think it had the Symphony of Destruction on a promo and I was like, that is a banger, that tune. I think he did.
Yeah, I mean, I like Megadeth more. I mean, I will give you that Megadeth does have some major clunkers. I mean, major clunkers of albums. I mean, Risk was a huge clunker. I know Palmer will get the reference on that. Super Collider was just total trash. But then again, Metallica has Saint Anger. I mean, they have Lulu. I mean, the Lou Reed collaboration was like totally awful. But I do like Megadeth more because I like Peace Sells Who's Buying. I like, to me, Rust in Peace is one of the most iconic pieces of work, and Countdown to Euthanasia was good, but no, I think I'm with Megadeth over this one. Also, let me get to some more comments here. Fred Durst and Corey Taylor. Oh, Fred Durst and Corey Taylor do appear. I was right. I knew it. Listen, and I think I said this on a prior show with you. I did try out for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I was on the list for a reason, and that's why I knew that.
I'd
Fred
love
Durst
to see you in your chops at Millionaire. I'd love to see it.
I didn't have chops at that time. I was I was a young whippersnapper, just a freshman in college, so I didn't have the mutton chops. Those I didn't have. But I knew that Fred Durst was on the first Soulfly album because the Soulfly album was a big deal. I remember when Max Calavera, as a little kid, had left Sepultura to join Soulfly, and that was a big deal. And I remember that album being a big deal. Also, Palmer, you know what? I'll go further on the music because Palmer says Black Album overrated, overplayed, and more trash than thrash. I mean, Holier Than Thou is probably my favorite song. I just heard Metallica play that live not too long ago. I thought that was like really good. Wolf of Men was okay. I mean, but yeah, I can't hear Sad But True anymore. No more Enter Sandman. Please, no more Enter Sandman. Please, no more Unforgiven.
Only listen to Enter Sandman if you actually seen the Sandman come in on the intro at ECW One Night Stand. Now that is
Okay,
an end.
I will give you that. I will give you when the Sandman would come out to it, but I didn't really listen to like Metallica as much as I would have years later. Okay, touche. But I am with him that the Black Album is totally overrated, overplayed. I mean, for me, I'll take Kill 'Em All, I'll take And Justice for All a little bit more, even though And Justice for All on purpose, the whole running joke is they buried the bass on purpose. But then again, Metallica albums after Cliff Burton died didn't have much bass to begin with anyway. So, I mean, so I would say I'm with him on the Black Album. Also, I have here, do you remember Rev Theory? He did voices for Randy Orton, Light It Up for WrestleMania
They done
24.
that song, didn't they? Give me a hell, give me a yeah. That one, yeah, Rev Theory.
That was the one. Yes, they did that. I think one of my early ones also that I liked also, do you remember when originally Saliva did Chris Jericho's Walls of Jericho? Remember that?
That was on that album, wasn't it? The Roof. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
But the one I didn't really like, and nobody I think really got when it comes to wrestling, is I do want to ask you about some of your tough dream opponents. One of the ones I don't think anybody liked was Disturbed with Stone Cold. It just that just did not fit at all. The Disturbed Stone Cold one. That was not that. Also, Palmer wants to go further on Metallica. I'm not going to argue with him. Now, I've said this about Metallica. I am waiting for a cease and desist from Lars. What's this here? What is he waiting for a cease and desist from? What's this about? Does he want Metallica to cease and desist, or does he have a cease and desist out for?
I'm going to come into the ring this Friday wearing a Metallica shirt just for him, so I get his angriest and meanest.
My other problem with Metallica, here's what I'm going to say. My other problem with Metallica is this. Here's my problem with Metallica. Everybody and their mother loves Metallica or wears a Metallica shirt and knows nothing about the band. It's almost like, okay, you know how everybody wears an AC/DC shirt, but all they know is
Ramones, Rolling Stones.
Iron Maiden is another one where I love Iron Maiden for our UK fans. I love Iron Maiden, but I hate when I see people wear an Iron Maiden shirt and they know nothing about Iron Maiden. It's like, why are you wearing the shirt for? It's like, I hate that stuff. That stuff really drives me crazy. Nirvana, another one. You know what? I actually want to go with this before I get to toughest opponents. I know that you're a big music fan, right? I know that you go to a lot of concerts. I know you listen to a lot of music like me. I do have a background in music. I actually have done a little bit of DJing. I've obviously interviewed a lot of musicians. I've done a lot of stuff in music to an extent. My cousin, I think I mentioned on the first show we did, was a roadie for Bret Michaels of Poison. My brother was in a band, yada, yada, yada. But I understand near you, you might actually have some vinyl out there, some really impressive vinyl.
Well,
I know you have a lot of
my
fans
music
out there.
room right here. I do.
You care to share anything for those that are listening and
I have
watching?
quite a few albums here for people to see here, right? So, of course, it is a rare album, rare single here. Easy, Boys in the Hood, Ruthless Records, first pressing.
Wow.
This is going to set you back a lot of money, a lot of money. Do you know what?
Where did you get that from? Where did you get that?
It had to be an eBay purchase to get it sealed and delivered like that.
That had to be
iconic albums now.
But that had to be only one of like.
I think it was a couple of thousand. There was.
I was gonna say that had to be no more than like 4,000 copies because in those days,
it's not a lot of them.
Well, who else you got there? I see a bunch of vinyl there.
I'm showing you a few. Obviously, these are albums that have changed my life in some way. Obviously, you know.
Can I give you a Nirvana story real quick? You ready for a Nirvana story?
Of course.
Okay, so I'll give you you'll appreciate the Nirvana story. As a little kid, right? I had to be, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, right? We're talking about Nirvana before Kurt Cobain died, right? Nevermind is just it's been out for a year or two, and my father was like you, big into music, right? He played the drums and everything else. As a kid, I actually remember he had Nirvana Nevermind on a cassette. He was probably one of the first people to have kind of heard this band Nirvana, and he was really into Nirvana. He loved Nirvana, and then he also had the album which came out before Nevermind. There was actually an album that came out called Bleach. Remember the
Bleach,
album
yeah, of
Bleach that
course, yeah.
came out? And that was like people had that was almost like before Soundgarden had Bad Motorfinger. They had Louder Than Love, right? Louder Than Love was like this really obscure record, although it actually made the charts, if I'm not mistaken, before Bleach did. But I remember my father having this little album on cassette of Bleach and then Nevermind. And then Nevermind was so iconic because it had the baby right in the water. And I just thought that was like so cool. I thought that, that was like so interesting and such. Nirvana had such a. I think that they probably. I know Teen Spirit was so iconic, maybe more iconic than Limp Bizkit in a way. And they just got. I know the Grammys just gave Nirvana a Lifetime of Achievement award, but I actually think the album cover for Nirvana probably put them on the map, maybe even more so than Teen Spirit.
Yeah, although the guy tried to sue him numerous times, hasn't he? So it's one of those. I think it'll be changed soon. Did he not just lose a lawsuit on him?
Yep. What else you got on vinyl before I move on to music in a few more?
These are albums that have impacted my life in some part. So we've got Gojira, you heard them from Master
I know
Cinemas.
Gorge. Yeah, I know Gorge. I heard them. I actually heard one of their songs last week.
One
Yes,
of
I
the
know
best
Gorge.
albums of all time. Signed as well, this.
Wow, you got the whole band, huh? You got Comfort, Will, Morello, and La Rocha. Wow, you got La Rocha to sign that? Boy, what did you pull? What string did you pull? My brother was into Lamb of God.
Yes, Zach, how's it going? Would you sign the album, brother? Hey, sure.
All right. Yeah, all right.
All right, there's the one. There's the cream.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
No,
okay.
But this one's probably my best of all time. This one.
Okay.
Pretty 8 Machine, 9 Inch Nails, of course. Bit of Floyd.
Can I give you a Pink Floyd story real quick?
Yeah, I'm down to my last two. Then you can tell me.
Okay. Pink. Okay.
And then Revolutionary. Come on.
Okay.
Chucky actually signed it to me.
Let me go. All right. So let me go with that one. That one.
Pink Floyd story.
Now that was Public Enemy. That was that
It takes
Rebel
Nation a Million's Shoulders Back.
And that has Rebel Without a Pause on it, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna. So let me give you my Public Enemy thought real quick. So with Public Enemy, that album might actually be. I wouldn't say a grandfather of rap metal, but it's certainly a sibling of rap metal. Because if you think about the artists that were in rap metal that were actually influenced by Public Enemy, Limp Bizkit, Korn, Kid Rock, obviously Kid Rock. Although Kid Rock actually started out years earlier. You think about even in a way, I would say El Nino. I'm trying to think of some other rap metal acts that were big at the time. It was El Nino.
Wow.
Yeah, El Nino. Yeah, I know I'm pulling one out of mine.
Remember Pod?
That was my next one, which obviously does Rey Mysterio's theme song, which POD might actually have. Their royalty checks must be great because they're always playing Rey Mysterio's music. But Public Enemy has, I think, a huge influence on rap metal. Notorious B.I.G., Ready to Die, probably top 5 all-time hip-hop records. I think that's fair to say, right? Top 5 influential. And then my Pink Floyd story, if you're ready to chuckle, I always thought if you were going to get high, what's the band you put on most? Pink Floyd, because they kind of make you feel all into the music and the art. So that's my Pink Floyd story. But no, I don't smoke pot, but that's kind of my Pink Floyd reference.
No more music. Let's talk fight.
What's that?
No more music. Let's talk fight.
I do. I want to talk fighting. Yes, I want to bring it because I know we only have so much time. Let me get to a few wrestling thoughts on music. Yes, Motorhead, Evolution, the game, King of Kings. Yes, I have to give them, and obviously Lemmy, God rest his soul, a huge shout out there. If I had a theme song, it would be a Jam Project or Baby Metal from Japan to do it for me. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that with you. Nirvana and DDP thing. Yeah, obviously Teen Spirit was the knockoff. And transitioning now into wrestling. Uncle Ralph of the Modern Day Mafia, who we just referenced a little while ago, says, "Good evening, gentlemen." Now, I want to talk about some opponents that I would love to see you face off. Now, I know Mr. Cobra and the Modern Day Mafia we referenced, and certainly May the 2nd, your chair, same time, same bat channel. I'll ask Mr. Cobra about your thoughts on that. But I got a couple of opponents that I would love to see you in the ring with that you haven't squared off with yet. Now, obviously, at the top of the list for me, I would have to say tomorrow's guest, if you're familiar with him, the natural born fighter, RP Davis. You guys have a lot of similarities, fight background. Fans love you. You guys go about it the same ways. I mean, who are some of your opponents that you would love to square off? I mean, I named one. I got a bunch. But who would you like to square off in the ring that you haven't, Mr. Big T?
Self-proclaimed king of Salford, Jack Johnson.
And Jack Johnson, by the way, debuted in the LWF this past Friday. Jack Johnson would be an excellent one. And I mean, I would love to see that. I don't know, maybe in Bolton Town Wrestling, maybe in GT Ministries.
I go hunting through Salford looking for that little rat. And I will stand on him and make him a cheese slice. You're hearing it, Jack.
But he looks like he might need a cheese slice. You know, he might need more than a cheese slice, you know, on the.
Yeah, he definitely needs a baby bell bouncing off his fod anyway.
So you want Jack Johnson? Does it matter Jack where Johnson, you want Jackson?
The rare bit, I want him.
Now, Rarebit's a good one. Rarebit's a good one because Rarebit, you and him, I think would have a lot of similarities in terms of how you guys fight in the ring and maybe not so much how you view life, but in terms of the size and strength, you know, you and the Rarebit, you might be able to go mano-a-mano with Rarebit. And I think you could probably give him a run for his money. And he's a guy that's done a lot also. We've seen him in Bolton Town, seen him in GT Ministries, and you've been in a mosh pit with him. So you might know Rarebit unlike anybody else.
We have to put out that photo of the Rarebit in the mosh pit with his attire because it was very out there, wasn't it? You've seen the photo.
Yes, I have. I have another one. Speaking of recent guests, and this will kind of tune into somebody else that is here with us. And I'd love to see you with the CCW champion, Grayson Riley, because Grayson Riley, I don't know if you know this, he's got also a background similar to you. He's got a Muay Thai background. He's done some MMA. He's got a shoot fight background. And he's a guy that you and him in a ring somewhere, I'd love to see that happen. I mean, what do you say to a Grayson Riley, possibly?
I'm just saying, the promoters need to say, bring on any opponent for cheese. This is my year to take down everybody. But like I say, the first ones I'm going to take down is definitely Palmer and then definitely BA Rose. And that UK title's coming home for the fans. It's coming for the fans, not for me. It's coming for the fans. I'm putting on a show for all yous. So
I'm going to get to
them, bring them opponents.
I'm going to get to that here. We have about 15 or so minutes with, of course, the legendary Big Cheese Logan is going to be in action here coming up here this coming Friday at Championship Wrestling Entertainment's Reborn event. Well, he'll be wrestling Palmer and B.A. Rose, the champion. But I have to come up because GT Ministries, apparently, you said the magic words, Mr. Big Cheese Logan, because apparently GT Ministries management is watching this and they've heard what you just had to say. And we also have this here. We've been watching your recent work, Cheesy. Who on our roster do you fancy stepping in the ring with? Let's say in addition to Jack Johnson, or if you want to reaffirm that. Obviously, they have a big show coming up on May the 20th. I don't know if you're available for it or not, but I mean, anything you want to say to management in GT Ministries now that the company is also branching out, and who on their roster would you like to square off with?
Literally anybody they want me to go against on that roster, apart from Gareth Angel. I won't go against Gareth Angel. I like his beliefs and all that. Anybody but him, I will go against. Anybody but him. Literally anybody. If you want me to start at the bottom or do you want me to go straight to the top, literally feed me anybody and I will eat them.
Well, Jack Johnson, I think, is a good one because Mr. Johnson could certainly be in a opponent
that flyweights. That's what I need flyweights because I'm always fighting.
All right, you want flyweights? I've got a couple of good ones for you in GT Ministries. I've got Alex Boylan. I would love to see you give a big beating to Alex Boylan, the metal god Alex Boylan. He's been on here before. I think a lot of people would love to see you give a big royal beatdown to Alex Boylan, the metal god. That would be good. But I have one actually for you, which I really think would be a match a lot of people. In fact, I'm going to do this here right now on the air. I don't know if I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this, but I would put some pounds up for. Let's see some pounds here for it. I would love to actually see you in the ring with the head trainer of GT Ministries, Sean Only. What do you say to you and Sean Only in the ring? How about that? Now that sounds like an intriguing matchup.
That's got another barn burner written all over it. It definitely has another guy that I've got lots of respect for, Sean Only. He's the head trainer of GTM, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting battle. That again. But
Sean Only, he needs an opponent right now because he doesn't really have any feuds right now in GT Ministries, and I think Sean Only and you, that would be you're an attraction guy. That would be an attraction match to say the least. You and Sean Only. I don't know if anybody's doing it.
It's hard for people to start feuds with me. The only start when they get a feud with me is when I throw them out or a rumble or something, because I'm just there sat back and then. They get the problem with me. They see the support I get, and they get a bad attitude and a problem. So I'm not one to start a feud. If they want to start a feud with me, get them to call me out.
But Sean Only would be exactly that kind of guy that would want to go mano a mano with you. I think that's the opponent I want to see you in the ring with.
Send me a shout out. you need to shout out.
Well, GT Ministries, you're listening at GT Ministries UK on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I mean, how about it? We have a show coming up next month. The Big Cheese Logan
and I definitely want to slap the face off Joel Cobra. Away from the Modern Day Mafia, I'll batter all them. I want to slap that smile off. Well, not the smile. I want to slap a smile on his face.
I also want to see, in case Sean Only's not available, I would love to see you give a big beatdown to the Metal God Alex Bowen. That's the one that I would just really love to see. For whatever reason, I don't know, but he's cruising for a beat.
He's grinding gears.
He definitely deserves one. And let me get to some more comments because people want to talk to you. Cheesy will rumble the whole GT Ministry roster, I think. I think he will rumble the whole of the GT Ministries. Yeah, I would probably agree with that, although I think you and Sean Only...
Coach Carlos, you're proud.
I'll tell you what, you look like you're in the shape right now that could do it. Would you like to be a trainer at GT Ministries? Well, that's up to management. That's up to them them to decide. That's
my training styles are very different to what someone would do. They're very different, as Josh would tell you. They're very, very different.
And I know that Sean Only does a great job there. Thursday nights, I believe it's 8 o'clock training sessions there. So certainly go under his tutelage. My very good friend, another big guy, by the way. He's a big guy here, Mr. Big Cheese Logan. Not a wrestler, but he is a big guy. His name is Anthony Finkel, and he says here that he likes you, but he's lactose intolerant.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Do you get the reference?
Uncle Ralph wants to say it will have to be a big bout because B.A. Rose is no pushover, a small guy with a big heart. I don't disagree with that. Uncle Ralph is always a straight shooter. I do have some comments from GT Ministry. So you know what? Let me get to management because they apparently have responded and some. And people, extra amount of them have actually tuned in to hear this. Disciple, our champion. Sean Only, the Metal God Alex Boylan. Joel Cobra, we mentioned. Slugger Hampton. That's a good, Slugger Hampton. I hadn't thought of Slugger Hampton because I haven't seen him in GT Ministries in a while. Drill. That's a good one. Drill is a good one. He's a part of Disciples Group. Stealth, another veteran. Mr. Angel, but you spoke about Mr. Angel. Rarebit, who you actually just saw at a mosh pit at the Limp Bizkit show. Jack Johnson, who you just talked about. AJ Grimm, obviously, when it comes to the Modern Day Mafia, we spoke about all would be massive matchups. Anybody else extra on this roster list that you said, you know what? Maybe I'd like to test my skills with?
There's a few good names there, and that's a few that I've called out there. Like I say, any of them names, apart from Gareth Angel, I'm up for a.
I think Drill. Drill would be a good one because
Drillella. Have you seen Drillella? I knew I'd get you laughing there.
You got me on that one. You got me good. I will give you that much. You are the big cheese, and it ain't easy being cheesy, but I still think you certainly make it easy. But I'm going to throw one other name out there that I think would be a good opponent for you just because I know I'll get him back on Sportswire, and he is the company's champion. That's Disciple. I think Disciple would be a great opponent for you. Disciple is a veteran. He's got the best spine buster in the business. He's got a look similar to yours. He goes about it in a different way. I think you and Disciple would be an intriguing matchup. I think that would be a matchup that I would love to see. I have one as a bonus. I actually have one. I don't know if you ever wrestled him or not, but he wrestled Jack Johnson actually in GT Ministries when he was the UKW champion. But Mustafa Khan.
Oh no, we was meant to have a match 2017, but I don't know why it didn't happen. I don't know if you left.
I think that would be a match. I think Mustafa Khan, I know he doesn't wrestle as much anymore. I know he still does a lot with UKW, but you and Mustafa Khan would be a really, really intriguing match. I don't know if it could happen in GT Ministries.
But yeah, again, it's another heavyweight, isn't it? It's another heavyweight.
That's a guy. But I think about that's a match that I think, you know what? If there's no title on the line, I think a lot of people would be intrigued about a matchup like that. I would love to see that match. Another match I would love to see you actually in the ring with, speaking of lightweights, and I have to bring him up because you mentioned him in our stream last week. Also, Wildfire Nate Reese. How about him?
Yes. Easy work, that for cheese. Easy work.
I know the inside reference on that.
I don't know because he's a good guy. I don't know about that. I don't.
No, but actually, you're wrong. In the LWF, he's not a good guy right now in the LWF.
Oh, really?
Nope. He's actually not a good guy anymore. He's not a good guy anymore, and he's got a tag team called Crossfire, and Crossfire is going to be in action this weekend, this Saturday, at the LWF show, and he's teaming up with a guy, the Asset Stephen Cross, a guy that another guy would be really, really.
There's so many opponents out there that would match with me so well, and like
listen, you told me figure out who I should name. I named you like
you're throwing names in. I'm like, wow, this is just opening up. It's like a board going on, arrows pointing in, finishing, going.
You could be like a John Wick movie. You could be facing off all these opponents. I mean, think about John Wick. John Wick must have killed, I don't know, like 500 people in this movie. They actually asked him, and I won't spoil it, but they asked him in the movie. They said, "How many people have you killed?" And Keanu Reeves stands there and goes like this. Too many. That's kind of like you have too many opponents right now to face off with. I mean, there's just
too many. I'm going to win that belt this Friday. There's going to be even more coming from me.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Friday night, I have Nate Reese on, and I'm going to ask him that. What do you say about facing off with you? He might want a match with you.
Oh well. Be a privilege to beat him up in his hometown then.
People are throwing names out there, so let me throw some names out there. I'm smelling an epic, cheesy comeback. Well, it starts this Friday here, coming up at Championship. Casey Jack Bradley says two names he'd like to throw out there. One is in GT Ministries, which is Pride. Pride was in the documentary there, and also one of our favorites, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, who is one half of the Nonstop Action Wrestling Tag Team Champions. He has been in GT Ministries, CCW. An intriguing matchup, a young wrestler who sort of made a quick name for himself in a short amount of time. That would be an interesting matchup. You know what? That's a good one. I think Kyle Kennedy would be a good matchup for you. I think that would be a name.
I'm definitely going to write a list and start crossing off to Rocky.
If you were going to go the Hogan Warrior route, or Austin Rock when they were both good guys, I'd love to see you and Bentley wrestle.
Yeah, again, it'd be another barn burner.
You and Bentley. By the way, here's the reason why I want to see maybe you and Bentley wrestle. You and him almost have the same type of gear. Do you know that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I was like.
All right, so maybe he copied off you now. So I would have to say Bentley, you and Bentley would be an interesting match. I have Bentley coming back on next month. So
I'd wear the pink and black for that one. I definitely would wear the pink and black of a face belt.
When I get you back on for the third time, we'll talk about that because I have a feeling Bentley's going to be back for this. They will be back a third time. But before I move on here and get to a few other thoughts, I will be giving a seminar up at Nonstop Action Wrestling on April the 29th. Maybe I'll find a future opponent for Logan. So,
okay, bring it on.
Also, Casey Jack Bradley is putting his hat in the ring.
I know my inbox is going wild at the moment. I can see them little circle messages. That's people.
But you know what? You wanted this, Mr. Big Cheese. You told me before we were on air. We prepped. You said that you wanted me to ask you this question. I didn't have to ask
Yeah.
you. You did say it, so this is why we're here.
Okay.
Uncle Ralph, though, wants to bring it back for a second. He says, with respect to the competitors, I feel that B.A. Rose will shade the match this Friday. What do you say to that?
In what way? What does he mean by shade it?
Does he mean what I asked at the very beginning of the show? Was that maybe you're so focused on Palmer that B.A. Rose kind of slides in there and retains the title?
I mean, that's the only worrying thing. I mean, is like me and Palmer have the personal issues to get out of the way for the fight, and we're forgetting the champion. That's just one thing that me and Palmer will have to get. We can't just lock horns. We will have to know there's a third man in this fight. Or a third beast in the fight.
All right, well, let me ask you, before I get to closing thoughts and a few other things, and I want everybody to continue to follow the Big Cheese Logan on Instagram, Twitter at Big Cheese Logan, also YouTube, Mad Manx, also his Facebook page here. But I'm going to ask you this scenario. You tell me your thoughts on this. If B.A. Rose walks out with the title, but Palmer doesn't, are you still happy with that outcome? Because your worst fear, right, has to be your nemesis, Palmer, walking away with another world title, no? So what's your thoughts to that scenario?
No. Anybody walking away with the title apart from me is a letdown, because I need to please that crowd. I am a crowd pleaser, and if I don't please the crowd getting that win, then it's a disappointment. I'll be very disappointed. Very, very disappointed in myself. So either way, I'm bringing the A game, and I just need to focus on the job in hand, which is Palmer and B.A. Rose.
All right, well, I have another wrestling company that wants to talk to you. But before I do that, Uncle Ralph says, I mean, it will be a tough bout, but I think B.A. will win. Uncle Ralph knows something that we don't. Maybe it's because you've called out Mr. Cobra, and Mr. Uncle Ralph certainly has a vested interest in seeing you go down in flames, or was it up in flames or up in smoke?
Matthew tried to recruit me, but I told him where to go when I was in the gym. He's like, let's go up to Cheese. Did you see I was in the gym? Came up to me, I was like, get out of here. So yeah, Uncle Ralph, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Or as I think Bon Scott famously used to sing, "Shot Down in Flames" from AC/DC. That was the AC/DC I like. Not so much the Back in Black stuff, but that was stuff I like. But let me get to another wrestling company now. I don't know if you've heard about this company. They're called Breakout Pro Wrestling. And
I've heard of Breakout.
You heard of them. They have a show coming up on June the 11th, and they say, hope you're well. Now, what is your schedule like on June the 11th, Mr. Big Cheese Logan? Do you have anything going on? Do you have an open date? I mean, would you have any interest in this company called Breakout Pro Wrestling? I mean,
yeah, sure. I'm only an inbox away. If you want to message me, yeah, Breakout, get them onto me. Yet again, if you have an opponent for me, I'll be there.
Well, and there's names, by the way, that we've mentioned tonight that are a part of Breakout Pro Wrestling. So they could probably make that happen in Breakout Pro Wrestling, right? Some of the names we mentioned, Jack Johnson's a part of Breakout Pro Wrestling. I believe Joel Cobra is a part of it. I mean, Disciple's a part of it, although he'll be in the ring with Hammerhead
Is
Smith.
Boylan a part of it? You want Boylan to be a part of it, don't you? You want me to face him, don't you?
I would like you to crush Boylan in like 3 minutes, honestly. If you ask me personally, I think Boylan, if you could crush him in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
There was 3 count, then there was a 2-minute warning, right? Remember it was Rosie?
3-minute warning, was it? 3-minute warning.
Jamal and Rosie, that was it. Jamal and Rosie. They would finish their matches in a few short minutes, and that was kind of the thing for a little while there. So I think if you're listening out there, Breakout Pro Wrestling, I think if you want to make Alex Bowen the Metal God and Big Cheese Logan, let's make that happen, and let's see Big Cheese Logan squash him in like 2 minutes. So that would certainly be I'm going to get in so much trouble for this. I am going to get in so much. It's going to almost be like that segment years ago where Daniel Bryan and The Miz run talking smack. I just have a feeling that's going to happen here one of these days. So we'll figure that out here. Also, Casey Jack Bradley wants to say Connor Cage from Nonstop Action Wrestling would be another guy who's supposed to square off with Disciple, who's the champion there at Nonstop Action Wrestling. That's a good one. Okay, fair enough. You know what? I've got the idea. We could go on all night about this. But before I get to closing thoughts, I wanted to ask you this question. And what are your final words first this coming Friday to the Necessary Evil Palmer and B.A. Rose?
The closing thoughts are, as I know that I'm going to be in a fight, which is going to be a tough fight. Doesn't matter. I would say it. Come down and support no matter who wins it, because it's going to a good cause. I'm not mentioning this. It's going to the cause is Children with Cancer UK.
Yep.
So all proceeds of the bout go to that. We're going to put on an entertaining bout, but in the entertaining bout, BA Rose and Palmer, you're going down. You are going down, and the cheese is coming out victorious. And I'm going to sit in the crowd and enjoy the rest of the show while you're in the back sulking because you just lost out to Mr. Cheese.
Well, you know what you're going to do? You're going to actually turn them into Cheese Whiz. Obviously, Cheese Whiz was like the melted cheese you'd put on things, whether it's like a pretzel or a hot dog.
I promise you, Rev, I'm going to slap a cheese slice off the person that I pin. I'm going to pick it up and eat it.
Well, I hope we get to watch this live. I hope we get a clip of that so I can see that. Tag me in it. Feel free. Do whatever you want. That's all I'm going to say.
Sweaty cheese slice, smack off his head. Going to peel it off and eat it as I'm pinning him with the other arm.
As they always said, there was the 3-second rule. So there is a 3-second rule still. So I will give you that much. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of people tuned in. I want to give a shout out to the rock idol of the UK, Jenny Hayes, who is tuned in. She's going to be my guest coming up here in a couple of weeks on May the 4th. And in fact, I want to give Jenny a big shout out because Jenny, also in addition to wrestling, she's also a singer. She's huge in the anime world and in Japanese metal and music in general, and she sent me her CD yesterday. So in addition to listening to the Metallica album, I got the new Metallica CD I have to listen to. I got the new Ozzy CD to listen to. I've got Jenny Hayes music I to listen to because we're going to talk about Jenny's brand new album out on May the 4th.
So she sent you her album?
Yep.
And speaking of sending things, I'm going to send you some UK chocolates. Just getting that out there.
All right, so I will mention this before. I'm glad you reminded me about this. So so I never got, here's what I don't get in America, right? So I'm in the supermarket, right? And I see a Mars bar, right? And I automatically think about all of our friends here in the UK.
How much is a Mars bar, by the way? Curiosity.
So it would be, I guess, for you, translation would be about one in pounds, like 160, about 1 in pound. Translation.
Four for a pound, eh?
It's more than a pound. It's about a pound, a little more than a pound and a half. That would what I would give you. So it's about a pound and a half. Translation here in America, it's almost $2. So it was a pound and a half. And I see this thing, and I'm like, wow, I have to try this. I've never tried a Mars bar before. I automatically think of, I never had one before. I mean, I haven't seen one of those in, I don't know when. So I automatically think of everybody here that comes on the show, everybody else on Sportswire, and I try this thing, and I'm like, this thing essentially is better than a Milky Way. Why haven't we had this here in America? And I wind up going to the store. I buy 2 more of these bars. I still have 1 left. But, I mean, why is this Mars bar such a thing in the UK, and why don't we have it in America? Can you explain this to me as a dumbfounded American?
I don't know. Like, we didn't have marathons till, like... Was it the late 80s or something, like marathon Snickers? I just don't know. No crossover with it. I don't know. I thought Mars was like a worldwide thing. I thought that would have been there all the time. Strange.
It's strange to me, and then they essentially call Mars Milky Way in America, but why not just make it Mars?
I'm definitely going to make you a package of like some UK chocolates here.
I was actually going to, you know what? You stole my notes. Again, Mr. Big Cheese. What other UK, so give me what other UK candies should I be trying out there?
Candies. Have you tried a picnic?
No, I have not, no.
There's one. Have you tried a twirl?
No. Give me that. Okay.
Oh, see, we're on the roll. I know I can pick out some of them just like. Have you tried a cruncher?
No.
You tried all this snacks of like a Babe Ruth, a Hershey's, a Reese's, the worst type of chocolates.
Babe Ruth, I'm not a fan of. Hershey's, it's only in like, it's a dry candy for me, but it's here and there. I mean, what else? Give me, I got.
You've tried a Dime Bar, yeah? Dime Bar?
I think once. Yeah, I think once I've tried that. Yeah, not recently.
A Boost? A Star Bar?
No. I haven't tried it.
Oh my god! Well, I'm gonna make you a package and I'm gonna send it
Well,
to
just
you.
tell me where. Listen, tell me where is it on Amazon? Can I buy them on Amazon? I'll buy
I
the
don't
bar.
know actually. I've never because they're just in my shop. It's one of those things that I've never
Well,
thought
listen,
about.
if I'll tell you this: if you want to DM me candy bars from the UK, anybody wants to DM me, just give me the suggestions, give me the links, and I'll go buy them online. I'll try them. Listen, I'll even go
We need
further.
to accurate chocolate bars, not candy bars.
Okay, chocolate bar. All right, so if for the UK people out there, right, all my UK friends, all my UK supporters, if there's any UK chocolate bars that you want me to try, DM me. Hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram, and I will go out. I will go out. I will personally buy them. You don't even have to send it. I will buy them. I will buy the bar. I'll find a way to buy it, and I'll try them on the air with you. I'll tell you what I think of them. If I like it,
Okay.
I'll do it with you. Why not? I mean, in fact, I actually had a suggestion. Somebody on my Friday in American Sports Show actually said, "Why didn't I try the Mars bar on the air?" I said, "Because I'm on the air. How am I going to eat it?" But I thought about it. All right, I'll do it. Listen, if you anybody out there, if you want me to try a candy bar from the UK, I will go out and find it. I will go out and buy it, and I will try it on the air with you. So that's my.
That's like eating a sweaty piece of cheese during a fight. That is retired.
And
That is
I already got a message from somebody on candy bar. So we will certainly work on that here. So
We're
all right,
talking all topics here.
but the Mars bar is going to stay in my rotation. Mars
Okay,
bar,
okay.
2 thumbs up, definitely. But I don't think I'm doing the deep fried Mars bar because some people tell me to do it, some people tell me to don't, and I think my heart is not going to agree with that. So I'm going to pass for now on the deep
I've
fried
tried
Mars.
it. It's amazing.
I've heard that. I actually Googled it, and it looked like really good. But I don't know if my heart can take it. I don't know. But I will keep the Mars bar in
You
the
do like
rotation.
when you have it. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit like that.
Well, I shouldn't say this, but I was a couple of weeks ago. I was on a job, and I'm walking up like 10 flights of stairs, and I'm running up the stairs, and all of a sudden I go, and I'm like, I said to myself, what am I doing right now? But I do have some comments, so let me get to them before we get to closing thoughts. The cream rises to the top, the cheese sinks to the bottom. Ooh, that's just somebody's in an evil mood. Big Cheese versus Ryan Hendricks, the vegan king cheese versus the cucumber. All right, well, Celebrations and Quality Street. Yeah, you just DM me that. I'm going to look those up when I get off the air. Thank you for that. That actually sounds really good. So I like the names already. Galaxy, I've heard of Galaxy. Galaxy is supreme. Thank you, Uncle Ralph. That's why we are modern day mafia for life, although I know you're going to get mad about me saying this. But also, I've got some more. Penguins, but we have Kit Kats in America. We have Kit Kat. I've had Kit Kat before.
Oh, I Twix and a topic. Oh,
I've had Twix in America. We have
I'm
Twix.
just gonna make you a package to save you all.
No, they've already given me names. I'll buy it. And I'll tell you what.
You're getting a package. You're getting a package. No
When you
questions.
come back, but here's what I wanted to do to spoiler alert. When you come back on the air, I'll actually have the candy on the air. You get your analysis on it. Tail of the tape, which candy bar. I'm going to listen. Kit Kats I've had before. I'm okay with Kit Kats. Twix, I've had a million times. We have Twix. These other ones, Lion Bar, Gold Bar, Topic, I'll definitely try. Bounty, I feel like I've had Bounty before, but like not in like ages. But I will try Bounty again. So I've got plenty of suggestions, plenty of ones to go through. So I've got a ton of candy bars. I got a ton of things to get through. The Big Cheese Logan, though, is going to be in action coming up here this Friday for our friends over at Championship Wrestling Entertainment. He is going to be opening the show. No pressure, right? Opening the show for the world title. He's got fans, family, supporters, you name them all. Also, more comments? Yeah, I'll go to him. Logan tries U.S. bars he's never had, and you try UK ones you've never had on the. Okay, all right. So you know what?
That's a good one.
All right, so here's the suggestion for that. We'll go with this. All right, so I'll name you U.S. bars, right? Because you're gonna come back on here and we'll do this
We're
again.
gonna have to go in an inbox and do this, and then come on air and do it, aren't we?
All right, so I'll tell you what. We'll do this next month. We're gonna have you back on next month. We'll already book it right now. We'll have you on next month, and we'll do this, right? But I mean, I'll name you U.S. bars real quick. Have you had Snickers?
Of course.
All right, everybody's had Snickers. I mean, WWE is sponsored by them.
Yeah.
Have you had a Kit Kat, right? Kit Kat you've had, right?
Yeah.
Three Musketeers.
Yes.
Milky Way.
Yes.
100 grand.
Yes.
Rolo bar.
A Rolo bar. No, I've had a Rolo. Not
Okay,
had a
Rolo,
Rolo.
same thing. Okay, Rolo.
All right.
Have you had Cadbury?
What do you call it? Cadbury.
Call them Cadbury. Um, have you had
Yeah.
I got one for you. Have you had Payday?
Yes, a Payday. Yeah, we have a massive. We have shops with American sections, and you just get them. Yeah, I've had them. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like Payday, but not often. Have you had let me think.
I
Snickers you
can't think of
mentioned.
the other one that's in a yellow wrapper and it's got like a crunch in the middle. I don't like that.
Is that what you call it?
A yellow wrapper and it's got like a
I
crunch
think
in the
it's
middle.
what you call it.
I don't know. I'm not a
Have
fan
you
of
had
them.
okay, have you had Reese's peanut butter cup?
Oh, you know what? Me and Marco Ray used to religiously have a Reese's peanut butter cup till we done a challenge of 9 of them in a row.
Well,
And we
I
stopped
will say
eating
this. Leave aside the Mars bar, because the Mars bar, I have to say, is actually one of my favorites right now. But leave aside Mars, my two favorites are probably Snickers and Reese's. Those are my 1 and 2. Either one. Those are my two. I don't know if there's anything else. I mean, I think
Do you want a live Reese's challenge with me on air one time?
you want me to have a Reese challenge. I'll never win. I'll have a heart attack.
I just wanted to put it on the
Oh,
watch for another
he
week.
says, but how about Butterfinger?
Butterfinger, that's the one. That's the yellow wrapper one. Butterfinger.
Well, you know, Butterfinger is famous because if you're old enough to remember this, do you remember the Simpsons? Bart Simpson used to have the Butterfinger. It used to be the Butterfinger commercial with Bart Simpson. They used to have
Oh,
it
is
here
that
in
what it
America.
was?
Yeah. That's how I actually knew of Butterfinger, because in The Simpsons, there was a Simpsons commercial with Bart. He had a Butterfinger bar. So I'm like, I gotta have a Butterfinger. But Butterfinger, my problem with Butterfinger is very quickly, it sticks to my teeth. I hate
Yeah.
this. It's too sticky for
Claggy.
my teeth. I don't like that. And you said you've had Babe Ruth, right? You had a Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
Have you had what's it called? The Good Bar, the Goodyear bar, whatever it's called, Mr. Good Bar, I think it is. It's like a Crackle. Have you had Crackle?
No.
Okay, Crackle's one. Crackle's like the miniature. So Hershey's has miniature candy. It's like Crackle. You get them like in a variety pack. That's probably one
Okay.
that's one I could actually go with. And Casey Jack Bradley says Werther's original. That's the butter caramel, right? That's the butter
Where's
caramel.
original? I know I'm old, but come on, don't go
I
that
don't,
far.
I don't like those. Nah, you know what? I wouldn't.
Down. Do you remember the advert? The guy with the slippers. Want to Werther's granddad?
I'll tell you
Don't
what.
offend me.
I think the Hershey's miniatures. Oh, I have one for you. Nestle Crunch. Have you had Nestle Crunch?
Oh yeah. I've had Nestle Crunch. Yeah.
You listen. People have had these bars, but I think the Hershey's miniatures. I think that would be a good one. But I think, listen, I'm gonna go buy these bars and I'm gonna try them on the air. We have a month. This gives me a month.
Stop throwing suggestions at us now.
No, yeah, hit me
Trying to
up.
close the show.
Hit me up the suggestions. I'll try whatever you want me to try. As long as it's not like banana induced. If it's not as long as it's not banana induced candy, I'll try it. So I think we've covered that. We have plenty to talk with on the candy. So we're going to bring you back next month. We'll recap the CWE show. Maybe we'll see you in GT Ministries. Maybe we'll see you in Breakout Pro Wrestling. And I'll try British candy bars, and you can kind of all see how I like them. And I think I'll like them all, but you'll get a chance to see them all. So all great stuff there. But for you, my friend, I want to give you the floor at this point. I want to give you any closing thoughts, anything else you want to plug, share, say, anything else anybody wants me to try, anybody else I needs to see, any movies you want me to see. I just saw Super Mario Brothers yesterday. I like that, so go out and see that as well. So the floor is yours, my friend. I'm looking forward to getting my sweet tooth on for round 3 next month. And the floor is yours.
So we definitely have to plug Championship Wrestling Entertainment this Friday.
Absolutely.
Fleetwood Cons Club. It's a stacked card. Mickey Midas versus Jimmy Jackson. You've got myself versus B.A. Rose and Palmer. You've also got a briefcase match with Kenzo, Luscious Lance, amongst other names. And then you've also got the Modern Day Mafia taking on Kenzo and La Flama. It's a stacked card. The proceeds go to Children with Cancer UK, and make sure you get on down to support. We'll put on a great show for you. And yeah, as I say, all the proceeds is a good cause. So make sure you come down and support that. That's my closing thoughts on CWA. I've also got to thank Josh and Ellie for putting on that show. They're the rare underdogs. They've not really had a shout out this show. But yeah, I'm thanking Josh and Ellie Howard. And I hope that the roof comes off for him, and I hope the show's a massive success. So that's what I have to say.
I have no doubt that it will be, and I want everybody to go to officialcwe.com also for more information on the show. Also go to official_CWE_. Also, huge shout out as always to Joshua Howard for granting us the opportunity to speak with you. Also, Instagram as well, official_CWE_. Also, CWE Official 2021 on Facebook, where you can obviously follow the company, all the great stuff, all the video packages, and everything else. We have a big show coming up in August as well, so we'll have another great show ahead for a lot of great things. I had just a great card here. Jimmy Jackson and Mickey Meadis, and the main event, obviously, Modern Day Mafia tag titles are going to be in action. Also, we're going to see a lot of things come. A Briefcase of Dreams match ahead, and obviously the opening match for that championship is going to be the Big Cheese Logan against the Necessary Evil Palmer and the CWE UK champion, that is B.A. Rose. And last two comments, Turkish Delights are amazing. All right, add that to the list. Uncle Ralph will be there. Love Uncle Ralph as always. Want to give him a big shout out. Also want to thank everybody that has tuned in here, liked and shared, and all the different platforms. That a lot of people tuned in pretty much everywhere. So I want to thank everybody. And one more time,
I'd like to thank a few more of my friends. I'd like to thank Carlos B.
Thank you. Thank 20 people if you want. Take your time. Go ahead.
Carlos B, Marco Ray, Dean Monks, Kane Goodwin. Oh, who else tuned in? Josh Howard, Ellie Howard, Kenzo. I'd like to thank Palmer, even though you're going down this Friday.
Say what? You thanking your opponent?
Well, he tuned in, didn't he? He gave me a bit of his time, so I've got to thank him. Just a tad.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll give you the benefit.
I can't be so mean all the time. I mean, of course, I'm called the Big Cheese, so I can't always.
All right. Touche. I'll give you that much here. So yeah, definitely all
Casey
those.
Jack Riley, I'd like to thank him. He asked loads of questions tonight.
Yeah, Casey Jack. You know what? I got to be honest. He's been with me on like almost all of my Sportswire streams. Even when I interview like professional basketball players, like he's here. Like he'll ask questions. Like that's pretty noteworthy. Skulls, by the way, Anthony Fick. I have a nice little following that people.
I'm just trying to think of the comments of the people tuning in. If you tuned in tonight and asked a question, I thank you from the heart. I thank you. So,
And you know what? I tell you what. I've been doing this
Ministries, Breakout Wrestling, all the companies, everybody that said hello. Yeah, I thank you.
You know what? And I really second that. And in doing this 4.5 years, I get so many people that say, I just want to thank you for doing these, and I want to thank you. And I get that off the air. So I just want to thank everybody for the continued support and obviously the growing of the brands. But most importantly, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Championship Wrestling Entertainment for doing this. It's a non-profit show. It's for the right reasons. It's for a good cause to help out those impacted by this terrible thing called cancer. It's impacted so many people. It's just a horrific thing, and we are certainly doing the right things here, and CWE is doing that here starting this Friday. We have another show in August, and we'll certainly talk about that. But next month, you will be back, my friend, Big Cheese Logan on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow you, Mad Manx on YouTube as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Sportswire Radio. I will be back tomorrow night with the natural born fighter, R.P. Davis, another fan favorite, also scoring off for a world championship. Yep, he boxes. He does box, and that would be a fun match. You and him in the ring somewhere. He'll be in the ring this Saturday, though, for Odyssey Pro Wrestling's heavyweight championship. But in the meantime, thank you, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow night. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, continue to like and follow us. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you go back to your regularly scheduled program. And thank you again to Josh Howard, CWE, and the Big Cheese Logan. Good night.
I think they need to hear this line before they go. It ain't easy being cheesy.
Well, that's why they call him the Big Cheese Logan, but I still disagree with it. But we'll find out when we have round 3, when I try as many candies or many chocolate candies from the UK as my heart can possibly take. But until then, thank you, everybody. Good luck to everybody out there for the CWE. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the man behind Sportswire Radio, and we'll be back here soon on the number one Global Radio